Well, now to the latest cost of living punch. Gas prices are about to soar, putting even more pressure on families and small businesses. And charities fear the worst.
It's bad, you know, it's just crazy.
So we're seeing an increase of sort of at least 35 to 50%.
People won't have anything left in their wallets, their purses to pay for this.
Get ready for the latest issue to inflame our cost of living crisis. Gas bills are set to surge by up to $1,000 in some parts of the country, burning through household budgets.
I'm incensed, I'm really angry about it.
Terry Peck is a self-funded retiree who recently received a staggering letter from her gas company. So Terry, this is the letter you received from your gas provider. What sort of news does it bring?
It brought bad news, very bad news. It brought news that my gas rates will be going up my bill by about $435 a year.
Terry lives alone and says she doesn't even use much gas, only to cook and when she powers her ducted heating in winter.
I was shocked by how much it was. I mean, I had heard that gas was going up, but I was surprised because I really don't use a lot of gas. So I'm really finding it difficult and having to watch what I spend now and think about things.
Gavin Dufty from St Vincent de Paul says thousands of families are already struggling without the gastronomic price rises.
So we're concerned about people either not heating, sitting in the cold, not being able to pay the bill, or just send your kids to school without lunch or not without lunch.
Gavin's advice is to spark up a conversation with your energy company if you are doing it tough. In many parts of the country, providers are legally forced to be reasonable in their dealings with those of us who are battling to pay.
They've got all these strategies. They include debt waiver, debt matching, payment arrangements. So rather than get a quarterly bill, you can sync your payments to your pension payments or fortnightly payments, energy conservation, energy efficiency information, and referrals to other support agencies. But you don't get that unless you call them up.
If there is to be some support for households this winter, what should that support look like?
We'd like to see a $250 gas-specific payment to households over winter.
That will be one option on the table as federal politicians hold a cost of living inquiry, and a solution couldn't come quick enough for publican George Williams from the Stoned Crow in Sydney.
So we're seeing an increase of sort of at least 35 to 50% that we've noticed right now, and then we're expecting further increases later on this year and following into next year as well, at the bare minimum.
When tasty pub grub is central to your operation, a gas price increase can really crunch into the business. For George, keeping the burners on forms about 10% of his overall costs.
We can't operate without the gas and electric. So there's certain things we can do, making sure the aircon, the lights are switched off, especially obviously in the evening. But when we're open, there's a fixed cost that we've got to play with and there's no control.
One thing Australia could control differently is gas supply, and Terry believes that the Politicians' Committee should take a close look at this.
Gas is a big resource in Australia. It's cheap. It used to be really cheap. Like your gas bill used to be nothing, and it was the electricity bill that was a bit bigger. But now the price of gas is unbelievable, and they're selling it off overseas to everybody, and we can't get any in our own country.
Terry is right. Australia is a resources-rich country with untapped gas reserves. More gas exploration would increase supply and that would reduce prices. But the industry says the trend in government policy to move away from gas has meant it's become too difficult to find the necessary investment to get more and bring down bills. Meanwhile, Aussies may be wise to save if they can ahead of the colder months for what could be a winter of discontent for many. Will you survive this sort of increase?
I hope so. I mean, you know, I hope so.